Hi, everyone. My name is Kunal Laroya, Executive Director for the Recruiters Network, and welcome to the Discovery Call, the show where we learn about different technologies and how they're currently being used today to solve some challenging problems for HR and talent acquisition professionals. And today, we're joined by Doug Berg. He's an innovator, founder, and data junkie at heart. And as a grandfather, or father, as we like to keep it young around here, of recruitment marketing, Doug is a veteran in the world of startups, having founded multiple companies, including Techies.com and Jobs2Web, which sold to SAP SuccessFactors for a cool $110 million. Doug is also frequently quoted in the press on workforce and career-related trends, having publications in the Wall Street Journal, Fast Company, and Business 2.0. And most recently, he founded a company called Web Clip Drop, which you may now know as ZAPinfo. Doug, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Kunal.
So, Doug, tell me, after all this time in your career, how are you with interviews?
I like the old tell it like it is kind of interview, right? I mean, people have a very short attention span, so you usually got to hit them hard with some interesting stuff, or they're tune you out.
Is it true that you recently did an in-flight demo of ZAPinfo that then led to you closing a deal?
I did, actually. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Tell us about that story.
You know, it was an old friend of mine who I hadn't seen in a couple of years. I was in the Atlanta airport, and I was frankly upset because I've got good status on the airlines, and I'm sitting in the Delta Sky Club, and I'm like the third of 2 seats available to get upgraded to first class. And I was looking at the list of people, and they only show the last 3 initials of somebody. And I was thinking to myself, these stinkers, these diamond guys are 1 class above me, and I hate these guys. And my old friend literally was one of those guys, and he came over and said, "Hey, how you doing? It's been a while." And I'm like, "Oh, you're the diamond guy that's going to keep me out of first class." Well, the bottom line is we both ended up getting upgraded to first class, ended up sitting next to each other. And he's like, "Show me your new company and what's going on here." And so we ended up in flight doing the demo, and he ended up signing up his whole sales team on the flight. So it was by the time we landed, everybody was all signed up and rocking.
Opportunities everywhere, right? So speaking of that, and to tee up some of the questions we have for you here today, I think that's a great transition into helping the viewers understand what exactly it is that you're working on today at ZAPinfo. And how could it be helpful to them given all the tools that they already may be using?
Yeah, so we invented ZAPinfo precisely for what you just talked about. We had seen recruiters, especially in the sourcing world, needing to use a whole bunch of tools to go out and build searches to find people in all these new sites that they are trying to find talent in. They're also using a whole nother set of tools to extract the data and clean the data, and then they had to use a whole bunch of other tools to try to find email addresses and social data. But then once you had all of that, you had to burn a bunch of time then doing outreach to people and trying to, socially connect to them or send them personalized messages. And then you had to take all that data and put it into your internal application so your boss knew that you were doing your job. And I just thought to myself, this is crazy how many tools, and I can't believe someone hasn't built kind of an end-to-end productivity tool that just automates that entire process. So that's what ZAPinfo does. It's a recruiting personal productivity tool that lives in your browser. It's not a CRM, it's not an ATS, but it's literally a tool that is like a virtual assistant to the recruiter so that they can zap a job and it will instantly show them how to search, where to search. When you find a group of people, you can literally just pick the ones you want and put them all in what we call your Zap board, which is like a shopping cart for talent. And then it will automatically enrich them and find their email address, where they live, what their phone number and contact information is. And then from there, you can instantly start to do social automated outreach. So send them personalized Facebook messages, tweets, LinkedIn connection requests, emails, SMS messages. And then all of that data flows directly into any of the top ATS or CRM providers. So it literally automates the entire sourcing process on the front end of the recruiting effort to save recruiters hours of time every day and to be able to deliver better recruiting results to their hiring managers than they've ever been able to do before.
Well, I think that is super helpful for teams that are then working with all these different systems. Because I think even from my own experience, when you're out there sourcing, whether it's for sales or for recruiting, I think a lot of the times the information you get also is just the most time consuming.
Yeah.
And so I guess with that, despite the popularity of software suites that allow disparate HR systems to communicate, do you think that data sharing still remains a challenge in HR? And is this sort of what ZAPinfo is helping to solve?
Tremendously. Yeah, you would think that the universe is all integrated, right, on the back end. And the unfortunate news is it's not. And recruiters are getting forced to use a tremendously higher number of applications. Like 15 years ago, it was just your applicant tracking system. And then all of a sudden, you had a talent CRM. And then you have this recruitment marketing platform. And then you've got to use video interviewing, background checking, all kinds of systems to be able to get the job of recruiting done. And again, while some of those systems are integrated, they don't stay updated together. And so I might have an updated record in my talent CRM, but that doesn't mean that the ATS got updated or that the recruitment marketing system got updated. So we're just seeing that there's a tremendous amount of data latency that happens. And because it can be difficult to put data into systems, I might have a LinkedIn profile of somebody that I just talked to, but I didn't put their whole profile into my talent CRM. I only put in their business card data because it just takes too long for me to put a bunch of that information in. So when other recruiters are searching for people, they might not see skills or experiences or certifications or previous companies or colleges I went to. Those are critical parts of data that just don't get put into a lot of systems because the effort to put them in takes too long. Well, with ZAPinfo, you can make all of that happen in one mouse click. Not only the first time you put it in, but even if you see somebody in your system and they didn't put in their full application, with one mouse click, it'll go find that person, grab their data, and then refresh the application within the system. So we're just trying to help recruiters to literally eliminate data entry from their life, eliminate all, because it stinks. You're a very highly paid professional relationship expert that's been relegated to doing data entry. And our job is to not only make that easier for them, but to then provide much better and deeper data to the systems that they're working with.
So let's talk about how we can, with that being said, figure out how to update contacts as maybe individuals change email addresses, companies, and roles. Does ZAPinfo have some type of feature or integrated way to automate that updating of these profiles in people's systems?
Yep, it sure does. So that's what's great, right? So even as a personal person, I can go and zap my Google contacts, for example, and or my Apple contacts right from my folder, and the zap board will fill up. It'll instantly go find all of their LinkedIn URLs, Facebook identities, and then you run a process we call the bulk profile update. So once it enriches that data, it will visit all of the LinkedIn profiles and get maybe the new companies people are working at, the job titles that they're in, their work email address, and all of that data gets combined together through this process. And then you can just bulk import it back either into your address book or into your talent CRM. The same thing can happen with your first level connections. A lot of the times we all just leave our first level connections out on LinkedIn because as people are making changes, it's being updated out there. But LinkedIn has made it really hard sometimes for us to export those connections. So even though a lot of us gave our first level connections directly from our email box into LinkedIn, they've now made it difficult for us to get that data back out. But the ZAPinfo process, by automating the visitation of every profile and opening up those contact dialogues, lets us get that newly updated data and information. It's not a single mouse click thing, but it's a basic process that can run relatively quickly. And it'll actually do it in a compliant to the LinkedIn terms of process or service method. Because if you want to, you can say, look, I want to get consent from every person to make sure that they're cool with me taking their data or information, not unlike a reverse apply with LinkedIn kind of a thing. So if you're worried or concerned about that, we've built that into the process as well. But in most cases, you've got a legitimate first level connection. You would, if you went and visited every person and opened up that contact window, see that data. So it's all available to you. You just don't have an automated way to be able to do that. And that's what ZAPinfo provides.
Beautiful. So that brings up a good question, Doug. So, as someone who's an experienced seller, someone who's been intimately familiar with the recruiting and talent acquisition space, do you think that recruiters today are becoming more like sales reps in their sort of day-to-day, their process of having to go out and source and close candidates? And how do you see this impacting sort of the future of recruiting?
I think the role of the recruiters changed a lot, right? I mean, even in my early days, I headhunted for 8 years. You know, you're a salesperson, you're a data researcher, you're a technology, you're a marketing person. You're basically wearing multiple hats now in order to get your day job done. You're even a broker, if you will, because a lot of the times you're not just selling the candidate on coming to work for your company, you're also selling the hiring manager that the candidate's the right person for the job, or to bend their job description to meet one of the needs of a candidate who's really a great fit, but maybe the job, needs one or two things in order for them to work. So you're a negotiator on top of all other things. So I think there's a lot of, things that have changed for recruiters, which has both made their job more complex, but I also think it's also helped enhance us as recruiters, because at the end of the day, we just don't want to be dogmatic miler and dialers, right? Or interviewers. We really love some of the new dimensionality of the recruiting career life that is available to us now that we wouldn't have had otherwise.
So how do you think we can get back to that more personable approach? I think today, we are, as recruiters, you hear it constantly, that they're bogged down by all these systems. They have, so much scheduling that needs to be done. And so a lot of times I think we forget that this is a people first business.
So if you're not, burning 2 to 3 hours a day trying to learn how to search for people and doing data manipulation and extraction and research, you literally can just say, hey, here's a rec, here's 20 matching people. I can present those to the hiring manager literally with just a few mouse clicks, get their feedback on who to work with and who to engage with, do that personalized outreach, which now I've got enough free time to be able to really engage with those people. Especially if I know that I've found people the hiring manager is uniquely interested in. So a part of what we're trying to teach is not just the use of a tool, but a different technique in recruiting. And we call it pre-recruiting or flipping the funnel. So instead of going out and reaching out to 50 candidates to say, hey, would you like to come and work at the company? Because the full data and profiles are available, why not put those in front of the hiring manager first and see which 5 of the 50 the manager is really interested in? Now I've saved myself from having to do 50 outreaches to see who's interested. And by the way, I can go to those 5 that the hiring manager said, these are the folks that match my thing. And it's not just a, hey, candidate, are you interested? It's, hey, candidate, I've already shown your profile to my hiring manager. You're guaranteed the interview. If you're interested in us, we're interested in you. Guess how many more of those people are going to respond to an outreach? Almost all of them are. So it's a really great way to optimize the use of the recruiter with all of this publicly available data and using some automation technology to stay in your sweet spot of working on relationships and results all day long.
Now we'll transition into a recurring segment we have here on the show called How Accurate Is. So what I'll do is I'll just pull up I'll share my screen with you here, Doug. I'll show you some pictures, images that we have, and just comment on them and on how accurate they may be for the world of recruiting and HR. They're safe for work. Don't worry, Doug.
I've been called the Ricky Gervais of the recruiting world.
All right, Doug. So here's the first one for you.
So stalking is such a strong word. Let's call it social research. I got to tell you, I went to SourceCon like 2 years ago, and the whole thing was on social engineering.
Yeah.
I constantly was scratching my head saying, this is stalking and manipulation. It is absolutely true. So yes, this is accurate.
All right. And the next one we have here.
All right. Upload your resume. Now painstakingly fill out this form containing, yeah, this is absolutely true. I saw this one at a show the other day, but yes, it's not only true for the candidates, it's true for the recruiters as well, unfortunately. So.
All right. And the next one we have here is goes along with the whole prospecting section.
What's it like to be a recruiter? Yeah, imagine a browser with 2,487 tabs all the time. Yes, I've literally seen this with recruiters. Yes, it's true. All right, when the HR tech vendor sells you that cool new AI feature, it's the massive machete cutting the thing. Yes, it's a We call it a bazooka to kill the squirrel. I think you're absolutely right.
There you go. All right. And the last one we have here for you, Doug.
Applicant tracking systems trade the all-in-one recruiting. And that's where the venture capital guys are going. Yeah, very, very funny. Anything AI. I was just at HR Tech in Vegas, and the entire new startups area was just 100% AI and machine learning. It was overload, but yeah, absolutely right.
Awesome. All right. Well, Doug, that concludes our segment of How Accurate Is. Thank you.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Awesome. What would you say are some of the top attributes that you think have helped you get to where you are today?
Obviously, being creative. I'm originally a tech guy, so I kind of know what technology can do. But when I go into meetings with customers, a lot of folks think that I'm an innovator, but I think I'm much more of an interpreter. So I can't tell you how many times I've sat in meetings with customers and they're like, I like your idea, Doug, but if it did that or did this, then I would really love it. And all I do is take that off the whiteboard and come back and interpret it into a tech spec. And that's what built our talent communities. It's what built the job alerting. It's what's built even the ZAPinfo system. It's been me watching over the shoulder of recruiters to see where they get stuck, where they get frustrated, what they like, what they forget, what they wish could happen. Literally, the whole ZAPinfo tool is a byproduct of recruiters showing me how and where they get their shoes tied together, where things piss them off, where they're even upset about how things work on sites like LinkedIn or the job boards. And I go, I know how I can help you with that. And so we're literally constantly innovating around listening to what our users are doing. And I think good recruiters do the same thing, right? They're listening to what the candidates are giving them relative to feedback about how frustrated they are with the application process, or not hearing back from recruiters, or a hiring manager who said he wanted one thing and then completely hired somebody with something else. Those are the constant things that I think recruiters, as constant learners, has benefited me in my career tremendously, and I think it will benefit most people that are out there working.
As I'm sure the question is on everyone's mind, what is ZAPinfo going to cost, and how do you see teams justifying budget or otherwise time investment for something like this?
Yeah, look, that's the best thing, right? I mean, we built ZAPinfo as a tool, and in a world where everything costs you, I think a LinkedIn recruiter license costs what, $8,000 or $10,000. It's the same. A bunch of these technologies get really expensive. I didn't want to create ZAPinfo. I wanted it to be a personal tool that people can use every day. So our average cost to use ZAPinfo is only like $1 or $2 a day. So it's less than half of your Starbucks to be able to get access to the full power of a recruiting tool that instantly will help you use all your current applications better, help you get twice as much out of your LinkedIn message, help you to discover and learn new places to find talent, and basically make you look like a rock star, right, to your hiring community. All out of our 10,000 users, I would say probably 70% literally buy ZAPinfo on the first credit card.
Doug, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. With the time we have left, is there anything that you would like people to know?
No, man, you've covered it all. Next time you can't tee up so many easy "is it true" slides. Come on, man, you gotta get some curveballs.
Hey, I'll be the interpreter for that one.
There you go. All right, man.